In a quiet town, the sun began to set, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. People were finishing their daily routines, unaware of the danger lurking above. High in the sky, a sleek alien ship hovered silently, blending into the twilight. Inside the ship, a group of aliens prepared for their mission. They were known as the Zorath, feared across the galaxy for their ruthless tactics and advanced technology. As the Zorath descended, they scanned the town below, looking for easy targets. They wanted strong, healthy humans for their experiments. They believed humans were weak and could be easily controlled. Little did they know they were about to meet someone who would challenge their beliefs. On the ground, Alex was just finishing his shift at the local diner. He had always been a fighter, standing up for those who couldn't defend themselves. He loved his hometown and felt safe there. As he walked home, he noticed the air felt strange, almost electric. A chill ran down his spine, but he brushed it off. He had a date with his girlfriend, and nothing would ruin that. Suddenly, the ground shook. A loud noise filled the air, and people began to panic. Alex looked up, and his heart raced as he saw the alien ship hovering above. Its metallic surface gleamed in the fading light. Without warning, beams of light shot down from the ship, hitting the ground like lightning. People screamed as they were pulled off the ground, lifted into the air, and sucked into the ship. Alex's instincts kicked in. He knew he had to protect himself and those around him. He looked around to help anyone who had fallen, but the light was too powerful. One by one, his neighbors vanished, leaving him alone. With a deep breath, he dashed toward the nearest alley, hoping to escape the chaos. Just as he turned the corner, a beam of light caught him. Alex felt his body lift off the ground, and he struggled against the pull, but it was no use. He was drawn upward, his feet leaving the ground as the world below shrank. Panic washed over him as he was pulled into the ship, surrounded by a blinding white light. Inside the ship, Alex was dropped unceremoniously onto a cold, metallic floor. He quickly scrambled to his feet and looked around. The ship was dark and sterile, filled with strange machinery that hummed and buzzed. Other humans were scattered around, looking just as confused and scared as he felt. Some were crying, while others were trying to find a way out. Alex noticed a group of aliens standing nearby, their skin a sickly shade of green and their eyes large and black. They spoke to each other in a language Alex couldn't understand, their voices sharp and harsh. He could see the fear in the eyes of the others, but he felt a fire inside him. He was not going to let fear control him. "Everyone, listen!" Alex shouted, his voice steady despite the fear bubbling inside him. "We can't just sit here and wait for them to decide our fate. We need a plan!" Some of the other captives looked at him with hope. "What do we do?" one woman asked, her voice trembling. "We need to find a way to escape," Alex said, scanning the room for exits. "If we work together, we can take them by surprise." The aliens were still busy discussing their plans, unaware of the growing unity among the captives. Alex could feel the tension building. He knew they had to act fast before the aliens turned their attention to the humans. Suddenly, a loud clang echoed through the ship. The aliens looked up, surprised by the noise. Alex seized the moment. "Now, follow me!" he yelled, leading the way toward the nearest exit. The captives rushed after him, fueled by the hope of freedom. As they approached the door, Alex's heart raced. He knew they were taking a huge risk, but the thought of staying captive was far worse. The door slid open, revealing a dark corridor lined with blinking lights. Together, they stepped into the unknown, determined to fight back against their alien captors and prove that humans would not be easy prey. As the group of captives spilled into the dark corridor, Alex felt a mix of fear and determination. The walls of the alien ship were cold and metallic, and strange lights flickered above them. The sounds of the ship echoed around them, a constant reminder that they were deep in enemy territory. Alex turned to the others, knowing they had to stay strong. "Stay close and stay quiet," he whispered, glancing back to ensure everyone was following. The corridor stretched ahead, dark and foreboding, but they had no choice. They needed to find a way out, and fast. The group moved cautiously, their hearts pounding in unison. The air was thick with tension as they crept forward, listening for any signs of the aliens. Alex led the way, his mind racing with thoughts of escape. He could not let fear consume him. He had to show his fellow captives that they could fight back. After a few moments, they reached a junction where the corridor split in two. Alex paused, his instincts kicking in. "Which way?" he asked, looking at the small group of scared faces. There were 4 others with him, each one looking to him for guidance. "I think we should go left," said Sarah, a young woman with bright blue eyes. "I saw some light coming from that way." Alex nodded, trusting her instincts. "Let's go left then." They moved quickly, sticking together as they navigated the ship. As they continued, Alex felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He could see the fear in the other's eyes. He could feel it too, but he pushed it down. He remembered his friends and family back home. He thought about how they would fight for each other, and that inspired him. After several minutes, they entered a large room filled with strange equipment and screens. The walls were lined with tanks that held odd-looking creatures floating in a green liquid. The sight made Alex's stomach turn. He realized these aliens were not just kidnappers, they were conducting experiments. "Look at this place," he said, turning to the others. "This is why we need to escape. We can't let them use us for their experiments." Suddenly, a loud noise echoed from the corridor behind them. The sound of alien voices filled the air, growing closer. Panic spread through the group as they looked around for a place to hide. "Over there!" Alex pointed to a row of lockers against the wall. "Quick! We can hide inside." They dashed to the lockers, squeezing into the narrow spaces just as the aliens entered the room. Alex held his breath, trying to calm his racing heart. He could hear the aliens talking, their voices sharp and angry. "Where did they go?" one alien demanded, its tone filled with frustration. "They couldn't have gotten far," another replied. "Search every corner!" "They must be hiding." Alex felt the fear of his companions as they pressed against each other in the cramped locker. He closed his eyes, focusing on his breathing. He could not let fear take hold. Instead, he thought of home, of the people he loved. He imagined them standing by his side, ready to fight. Minutes felt like hours as the aliens searched the room, moving closer to their hiding spot. But then, just as suddenly as they had arrived, the aliens left, their voices fading away down the corridor. Alex opened the locker door and stepped out, his heart still racing. "We need to keep moving," he urged. "We can't stay here." The group emerged, relief washing over them, but they knew the danger was not over. "Thank you for keeping us together, Alex," Sarah said, her voice shaky but grateful. "You gave us hope." Alex felt a surge of strength from her words. "We are not going to let them win. We have to stay strong no matter what happens. We're humans and we fight for each other. That's what makes us who we are." The group nodded, their fear replaced by a flicker of hope. They were not just captives, they were warriors in their own right. With Alex leading the way, they stepped out of the room, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they moved deeper into the ship, they began to feel a bond forming between them. Each step brought them closer to freedom, and together they felt powerful. They would not let the aliens take away their spirit. United by their struggle, they marched forward, determined to escape and show the world what humans were capable of. After navigating the dark corridors of the alien ship, Alex and the group found themselves in a small, dimly lit room filled with strange devices. The air was thick with an unusual smell, like burnt metal mixed with something sweet. In the center of the room, a table was covered with alien tools and glowing screens displaying images Alex couldn't understand. They had stumbled upon what looked like an alien command center. "Wow, look at all this stuff," Sarah said, her eyes wide with curiosity and fear. "Do you think we can use any of it?" Alex glanced around, trying to focus on their goal. "We need to find a way to communicate with the outside or locate an escape pod. We can't stay here much longer." He could feel the pressure mounting. Every minute they were on this ship was another minute closer to being captured again. "Maybe we can use those screens," suggested Mark, a tall man with a determined look in his eyes. He stepped closer to the nearest screen, studying the symbols and images. "If we can figure out how they work, we might be able to send a distress signal." "Good idea," Alex replied, feeling a surge of hope. "But we need to be careful. If the aliens find out we're here, they won't hesitate to capture us again." While Mark examined the screens, Alex gathered the others in a huddle. "Okay, everyone, listen up," he said, keeping his voice low. "We need a solid plan. We can't just run around aimlessly. We need to find out where the exit is and how to get there safely." "Do you think we could overpower the guards?" asked Sarah, her voice shaking slightly. "They look strong, but there are more of us." Alex nodded. "If we work together, we can surprise them. But first, we need to gather information. We need to know the layout of the ship. If we can figure out where the exits are, we can plan our escape route." As Mark continued to study the alien screens, Alex noticed a small map on one of them. He quickly pointed it out. Look, that map shows the ship's layout. Mark squinted at the screen and then turned to the group. Yes, and it shows the main exits. If we can get there, we might have a chance to escape. But we'll need to move fast. Let's split into two groups, Alex suggested. One group can distract the guards while the other looks for the escape pods. We can meet at the exit point on the map. I'll go with you, Alex, Sarah said, stepping forward. I want to help. Me too, Mark added, determination in his voice. Let's take the fight to them. The others nodded, feeling braver now. Alex could see the spirit of resistance igniting in their eyes. They were no longer just victims, they were ready to fight back. Okay, let's get to work, Alex said, feeling a rush of adrenaline. We'll use whatever we can find here as weapons or tools. We'll need to be clever and quick. They began to gather items from the table. They found strange-looking tools that resembled knives and small devices that buzzed softly. Alex didn't know what they were, but he felt they could be useful. Everyone ready? Alex asked, checking their makeshift weapons. Let's move out and create a distraction. With their plan set, the group split into two. Alex, Sarah, and Mark moved towards the exit, while the others prepared to create a diversion by making noise in the command center. As they approached the door, Alex could feel his heart pounding. Remember, stay close and follow my lead. We're going to surprise them. With a deep breath, Alex opened the door and stepped into the corridor. The alien ship felt different now. It was no longer an impenetrable fortress. It was a maze of opportunities. The hallway was quiet, but they could hear faint sounds of alien voices in the distance. They crept forward, keeping to the shadows. Alex signaled for them to stop as they approached a corner. Peering around, he saw two guards standing by a large door. Now's our chance, he whispered. Let's create the distraction. Mark nodded and picked up a small metal tool they had found. He threw it down the corridor where it clattered loudly. The guards turned, confused by the noise. What was that? One of them asked, moving toward the sound. Go! Alex urged, and the three of them dashed toward the exit, adrenaline surging through their veins. As they ran, Alex felt a surge of hope. They were making progress, and for the first time since being captured, he believed they could escape. They would show the aliens that humans were not to be trifled with. They would fight back and reclaim their freedom. As Alex, Sarah, and Mark sprinted down the corridor, they could hear the guards shouting behind them. The sound echoed through the alien ship, filling them with urgency. They had created a distraction, but now they needed to capitalize on it. The adrenaline pumped through Alex's veins as he pushed himself to run faster. Keep moving, Alex urged, glancing back briefly to see the guards scrambling to investigate the noise. He could see the fear on Sarah's face, but he also saw determination. They were all in this together now. They reached a large door that led to what appeared to be the hangar bay, where the escape pods were kept. As they pushed through, Alex's heart raced. The room was filled with alien ships, sleek and strange, parked in orderly rows. But time was not on their side. They had to act fast. Over there! Sarah pointed to a group of small, round escape pods lined against the wall. We can use those to get out of here! Let's move! Mark said, heading towards the nearest pod. They were almost there when Alex heard footsteps approaching. Quick! Hide! He shouted. They ducked behind one of the alien ships just in time. Alex pressed his back against the cool metal, trying to steady his breathing as they listened. Two guards entered the hangar, their voices sharp and urgent. They went this way. Search the area, one ordered. Alex felt his heart pounding in his chest. They couldn't let the guards catch them now. As the guards moved closer, he had an idea. We have to create a distraction again, he whispered to the others. Mark nodded. I can throw something to draw their attention. Do it! Alex urged. He watched as Mark grabbed a metal tool from the floor, then heaved it towards the opposite side of the room. The tool clanged loudly against the wall, echoing through the hangar. Did you hear that? One guard exclaimed, turning to investigate. Let's check it out! Now was their chance. Go! To the pods! Alex commanded. They rushed towards the escape pods, their hearts racing as they climbed inside one of them. Can you operate this thing? Sarah asked, looking at Alex with wide eyes. I think so, he replied, studying the controls. They were unlike anything he had ever seen, with buttons that glowed in strange colors. He pressed a few buttons, hoping to figure it out quickly. Meanwhile, Mark kept watch. Hurry! They might come back any second. With a deep breath, Alex pressed the main button and the pod whirred to life. The sound of engines humming filled the small space, and Alex felt a rush of hope. "It's working!" he shouted. "Let's get out of here!" Sarah cheered, her fear replaced with excitement. Just then, the hangar door opened again, and more guards rushed in. "They're in here!" one shouted, pointing directly at them. "Go! Go! Go!" Alex yelled, slamming the button to launch the pod. The engines roared, and the pod shot forward, leaving the guards behind in a cloud of confusion. As they blasted out of the hangar, the feeling of freedom surged through them. They were finally escaping! Alex peered through the small window of the pod, watching as the alien ship grew smaller behind them. But their joy was short-lived. "Warning! Incoming fire!" a voice blared from the pod's control panel. Alarms blared, and Alex felt a jolt as the pod was rocked by explosions. "Hold on!" he yelled, gripping the controls tightly. He maneuvered the pod as best as he could, dodging the incoming shots from the ship behind them. "We can't let them catch us!" Mark shouted, fear evident in his voice. Alex focused, his heart racing. "I need to find a way to evade them!" He spotted a nearby asteroid field on the display screen. "There! If we go through there, we can lose them!" "Do it!" Sarah encouraged. With a quick turn, Alex aimed the pod toward the asteroid field. The narrow passage between the asteroids was filled with danger, but it was their only chance. The pod shook as it entered the field, dodging the large rocks that floated dangerously close. Behind them, the alien ship followed, firing wildly. "They're right behind us!" Mark shouted, panic rising. "Stay calm!" Alex yelled back, determined to stay focused. He swerved the pod left and right, narrowly avoiding collisions with the massive asteroids. "Come on, come on!" Sarah urged, gripping the armrests tightly. "We can make it!" Just as they emerged from the field, Alex saw a small opening leading to the vastness of space. "There! We can escape into open space!" With one last effort, he pushed the pod forward. They shot through the opening, breaking free from the asteroid field. The alien ship was left behind, unable to navigate the maze of rocks. As they floated in the vastness of space, a sense of relief washed over them. They had escaped! But Alex knew this was just the beginning. They had to regroup and find a way to fight back against the aliens. They were not just survivors, they were warriors. And they would not stop until they took the fight back to the alien kidnappers. After escaping the alien ship, Alex, Sarah, and Mark floated in the vastness of space, their hearts racing with adrenaline and relief. The escape pod's control panel beeped softly, showing that they were now clear of the pursuing ship. They had done the impossible. They had escaped. But they knew this was only the first step in a much bigger battle. "Where do we go now?" Mark asked, looking at Alex with a mix of hope and uncertainty. "We need to find a way to contact Earth," Alex replied, his mind racing. "If we can get a signal out, we can call for help. But first, we have to figure out how to navigate this pod. I have no idea where we are." Sarah leaned closer to the control panel, her fingers dancing over the glowing buttons. "Look, there's a star map here. It shows nearby planets and their coordinates. We could head to the closest one." Alex studied the screen, his brow furrowing. "What if the aliens are still hunting us? We can't risk landing on a planet without knowing if it's safe." "I think we should try the planet that looks the most habitable," Sarah suggested. "We can regroup there and figure out our next move. It's better than floating around aimlessly in space." Mark nodded. "We have to take a risk. Let's go for it." After a few tense moments, Alex made a decision. "All right, set the coordinates for that planet. Let's see what we're dealing with." The pod's engines hummed as Sarah input the coordinates, and soon they were on their way. As they traveled, the planet slowly came into view. It was a blue and green orb, vibrant and alive. "It looks beautiful," Sarah exclaimed, her fear momentarily forgotten. "Let's hope it's as welcoming as it looks," Alex replied, glancing at the ship's scanners. "I'll keep an eye on any incoming signals." As they approached the planet, the pod began to shake. "We're entering the atmosphere!" Alex called out, gripping the controls tightly. "Hold on!" They plunged through the clouds, the pod vibrating as it descended. Suddenly, they broke through the clouds and saw a lush green landscape below. A vast forest spread out, dotted with rivers and mountains in the distance. "Let's find a spot to land," Mark shouted, pointing to a clearing near a river. With a steady hand, Alex aimed for the clearing. The pod touched down softly, and they all let out a breath they didn't realize they were holding. "Wow, we made it!" Sarah cheered, her excitement infectious. Once the pod settled, they opened the hatch and stepped out. The air was fresh and filled with the sounds of nature. Birds sang overhead and a gentle breeze rustled the trees. But Alex quickly remembered their situation. This is great, but we need to stay alert. The aliens could still be after us. They scanned the area, trying to determine their next steps. Let's set up a perimeter, Mark suggested. We need to know if anyone approaches. Good idea, Alex replied, grateful for Mark's level-headedness. They gathered sticks and leaves to create makeshift barriers around the pod, ensuring they had warning if anyone came near. As they worked, Alex couldn't shake the feeling of urgency. They needed to contact Earth. Sarah, do you think you can get the communication system working? He asked. She nodded, determination shining in her eyes. I'll try! I might be able to modify the controls to send a distress signal. While Sarah worked on the communications system, Alex and Mark kept watch. The forest was beautiful, but it felt eerie in its silence. Every rustle in the leaves made them jump. Finally, Sarah called out, I think I got it! The control panel flickered to life, and a screen displayed a faint signal. It's weak, but I can try to boost it. Do it! Alex urged, his heart racing. They needed this signal to reach Earth. Sarah focused, adjusting dials and pressing buttons with precision. Come on, she whispered to herself. The signal slowly strengthened, and a crackling voice broke through the static. This is Earth Command. Who is this? Earth Command! This is Alex! He shouted, his voice filled with relief. We were kidnapped by aliens, but managed to escape. We need immediate assistance. Alex, you made it! The voice crackled back. We're tracking your signal. Stay where you are, we'll send help. Tears of joy filled Alex's eyes as he looked at Sarah and Mark. We did it! Help is on the way! But their celebration was cut short as a loud noise erupted from the sky. Alex looked up to see a dark ship approaching fast. They found us! He yelled, panic flooding through him. Get back in the pod! Mark shouted, urgency filling his voice. As they scrambled back inside, Alex's mind raced. We have to defend ourselves. We can't let them take us again! Sarah quickly worked on the pod's defense systems, her fingers flying over the controls. I'm trying to activate the shields! The alien ship descended, its guns powering up. Hurry, Sarah! Alex cried, feeling the weight of their situation pressing down on him. Just as the enemy ship fired, Sarah shouted, I've got it! The shields activated, absorbing the energy blasts. Now! Alex shouted. He pressed the launch button, sending the pod into the air. They ascended rapidly, dodging the enemy's fire. With the alien ship behind them, Alex took a deep breath, realizing they were finally fighting back. They were no longer victims. They were warriors, ready to reclaim their freedom. As they soared through the skies, determination burned in their hearts. They would face whatever came next, together, and they would win this battle for humanity,